Hey everyone, and welcome to what might be one of the most important lessons you ever learn in terms of applying for a job or getting a future career. It really doesn't matter what career field you guys are going into, but every single person has to go through resume buildings, and I really want to highlight every single thing. So this is going to take a little bit of time, but just to instill some trust in you from me, I have presented this presentation in front of professionals, in front of high school students. I've actually done this for a couple college classes. Resume building is just something I'm super passionate about, and I really want to make sure that we hit on every teeny tiny little aspect of how to make your resume perfect, which is the most difficult thing because there is no, here's the irony. There's no such thing as a perfect resume or here's how to make a perfect resume. But your resume has to be perfect. Have I lost you yet? Okay, hopefully not. But hang in there with me and let me coach you guys all through this because every single person has a different background, a different story, a different experience, and no two people are completely alike. So I have to accomplish all of that with all that criteria, yet help you guys produce these amazing resumes for the future for you guys, because this could be the difference between getting a job and not getting a job. The whole purpose of a resume, the job interview, and all that fun stuff is you are selling you. You are marketing yourself. So if you are completely humble, person and doesn't like to brag about yourself, go ahead and put that on pause for a moment and be completely okay with bragging about yourself. And you're selling yourself to employer. So before I stay on my soapbox any bit longer, let's go into how to build a resume. All right. Okay. Um, Number one, use a template. Use a template, use a template, use a template. I think you are getting my drift. Here's the deal. I have taught Microsoft Word and Google Docs for over a decade now. Wow, I'm really old. I've actually used them ever since about the second or third grade. Actually, I used to do my dad's PowerPoints when I was still in the fourth grade. So if that doesn't make me a nerd, I don't know what will. So here's the deal. I could tell you every single tiny little thing about Microsoft Office with Google Docs or any other sort of word processing file, and I still use a template. Why? Because nobody expects you to go out there and complete something from scratch. You can alter it, you can twist it, but hey, why recreate the wheel? Use a template, and later on, I'm going to show you guys where you can find numerous templates in a couple different ways. And last resort for finding a template, you can just Google one. So don't waste your time by starting from scratch. Use a template. In the assignment you guys are about to do, you will be given a template, and it's a pretty nice one. It's got blue on it. I like blue. You can change it. I don't care. All right. General information. Okay, this is where some people differ. And I will show you guys my personal resume with all my contact information completely changed and altered. I hope you guys appreciate some of my humor and how I've changed it. Some people think you get one page. If a company that you're applying to says submit a one-page resume, you submit a one-page resume. If they say it can be up to 2 pages, great. It can be 1 or 2 pages. Just make sure it's not like a quarter of a page, half a page, or anything like that. If they say 1 page, darn it, you fill up 1 page. If they give you 2, shoot for the moon. If you can only fill up 1, then that's fine, but go for 2. Okay, you want to make sure that the formatting, everything's evenly spaced. And back again to templates, they already pre-space everything out. So it looks nice and pretty and it's even out, and people with OCD like myself, their OCD is happy. So make sure everything's spaced out. I mean, you can even do the visual test. You just look at it and go, does it look pretty or does it just not? Fonts need to be consistent. Once again, why use a template? And when I say formatting, if you have different titles, one might be experience or volunteer work or hobbies or interests. It should all be consistent. It'll be the same size, same font, what kind of style it is. The same intent, indenting, all that fun stuff. Is it bolded? Is it not? It just needs to be consistent. And once again, that's where formatting comes in. Your main job is to sell you and to highlight who you are, not be like, hey, look, I am really good at creating resumes from scratch. Most jobs will not require those skills. So, um, put the most important information at the top on the first thing that you guys see. Um, and make it so that the first thing people look at is what you think is the most important part. Okay, there are three different types of resumes. So if you are sitting there and you're like, I have absolutely no experience whatsoever, hang loose for 2 seconds because we will get to you and you don't have to worry, don't have to fret. I've met people who literally have sat on their couch most of their lives, gone to school, done very few things, and we still got a very, very pretty resume by the time we were done doing that. So, chronological resumes focus on your experiences, your skills, your abilities, but mostly focuses on your experience. So for me, I am a high school post-secondary business and marketing teacher. So one of the first things I put in there are my certifications and my endorsements and the classes I've taught and where I went to school and where I've taught before and things like that. So list your when you list your experience, you're going to put in reverse chronological order. So number one will be, hey, say you've had 3 jobs. The first one at top should be the one where you're currently at or where you've most recently worked at. The one below that should be the one where you've worked before that, and then the farthest one down at the bottom was your longest experience from a long time ago. So that's what they mean by reverse chronological order. Okay, things that you're going to want to include the job title. What was your title? Where'd you work at? What was the company name, the organization's name, the school's name, all that. City, state, dates. I'll show you how to write dates. We can just do month and year. We don't have to get to specific dates. Nobody really cares, to be quite honest. They just want to know how long you were there. And then any relevant skills or responsibilities while working there. Okay, so for someone like myself, I think if I've counted, I've had close to probably 15 different jobs in my life. Um, I'm, yeah, I'm going to go with 15. You do not have to put every single job you've ever worked at. Also, the other little tidbit and trick is tailor your resume to the job you are applying for. So, for example, if you are going in to become a plumber, say you've had other jobs as a plumber, you're definitely going to want to do that. But maybe say your life got hit by the recession, so you decided to work for some company that served pizza and had lots of children games, and there was a mouse running around, and you had to do that just to pay the bills. Hey, we've all had those kind of jobs. You probably don't have to include that one. So just make sure that whatever jobs are relevant to wherever you're applying, hey, remember, you're selling yourself. If you're going from being one plumber to another company, highlight anything that a plumber would do in those types of skills. So highlight on those experiences. So for the chronological resume, you guys are in luck. I'm going to back out of this PowerPoint and I'm going to share with you guys my personal resume with information that has been altered so you don't know where I live or work or what my actual phone number is. So here we go. So on page 1 of my resume, I list up here, first things first, education and certificates. So currently I'm working on my national boards. I did my master's, my MBA program through Western Governors. You guys can see I went to Eastern Washington University and Spokane Falls Community College. Go Sasquatches. And then I show my endorsements. For a teacher, this is what we can teach. These are the classes that I've taught, and then you can see experiences, the schools that I've taught for before, and then other related experiences. So yes, I was a whistleblower. That was one of my jobs. I did it for 8 years. So those are things, and as a high school teacher, I thought some of those things were relevant to being a good communicator, being on time, being professional, so that's something that I leave in my resume. awards I've won. You guys can put in any awards or honors that you've won. And also, if you think about it, being a teacher, I've been an FBLA and DECA advisor. These were some of the national awards that some of my students have won. So I want to be like, hey, look at what my students have done and all that. So these are my 2 pages. So when I talk about formatting, notice that education certificates, it is Times New Roman, size 11, and it is bold. And if you go through endorsements, classes taught, experience, related experiences, honors, it's all the same. They are all exactly the same font. The wording underneath is all the same. Notice where it says national boards, the city, you'll see the school's name underneath and the city. It's all consistent. You also notice that anything down below the type of certificate, it's italicized. Same with the dates. Look at the dates over here, April 2013 to March 2014. So notice just the formatting. Notice that I don't put in September 21st, 2004. You just need to put in the month and the year. Like I said, nobody really cares. They just want to know approximately how long you've worked someplace. And things like that. And remember, you can always send me little pop-up chats on questions that you have about resumes. I love answering resume questions because I know resumes lead to jobs. All right, and then lastly, one thing, I'm going to get ahead of myself a little bit, but take a look over here. This is my reference page. One of the biggest mistakes that I see even adults making is they're like, hey, look, I made a really cool resume, and I've got my references at the bottom of the page. And I'm like, no, you don't do that. You leave your references on a complete separate page. And through years of interviewing people with teams and not, I found out that a lot of times the reference sheet goes in a separate direction. Also, have you ever been told to turn in a resume and fill out an application, and then you get frustrated because 80 to 90% of the questions are the exact same? There's a reason why. They're not just wasting your time. The reason being is your resume might go to the hiring manager. Your application might go in a different direction to HR, in a complete separate direction. So you have to have both filled out. So if you have to do that, don't worry about it. We all have to. Okay. So don't get too frustrated with that. All right, let's move on to functional. Okay, for you sports fans out there who've never had a job, here we go. Okay, chronological resume before focuses on mostly experiences. Functional resume is for those of you who've never had a job before, which has been all of us at some point in time. So a functional resume focuses on your transferable skills from going to school. Maybe you're part of Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, Campfire. Maybe you played sports. Maybe you're part of an organization. Maybe you worked with a church group. Maybe you work with a nonprofit. Maybe you did some volunteer work with any company or organization around the world. Okay, so this is to focus on those skills that you've had that will transfer over to a job. So, because we all know at some point in time, you're going to want to get a job, and you've never had a job before. So you want to be able to show that. Okay, some of the categories that you guys can include instead of experiences are problem solving. You can put in there interpersonal communications, that you're really good with communicating with people. Side note, when interviewing way too many people, we always came down to two things that we needed to know about every single candidate. Number one, could they do the job? Number two, are they going to play nice in the sandbox? Meaning the people they're going to work with, hey, are they going to mesh real well, or are they like vinegar and baking soda? So a lot of times those are the only two things we have to whittle it down to when we are thinking about hiring somebody. So really think about that too. Also, might not be a bad idea. Go scout out the place where you're applying for. If it's a business, go pretend like you're a customer. Shoot, be a customer and find out how they operate. Listen to their conversations. Is it an upbeat place? place? Is it a quieter place? Is it an exciting place? Is it a somber place? Like, just kind of get a vibe for it, and do some research on it. Anytime I've ever had somebody do research on the school I was working at and we were interviewing for a position, I was always impressed. Like, oh my gosh, they researched us. They got a couple of things right. Maybe a few things they got wrong. Actually, I did have one candidate who just I I don't think he really researched us, but he told stuff about us that was completely not true. We're like, yeah, go back to the drawing board. So, all right, let's go to an example of a functional resume. So here we go. Not gonna lie, I did find this example online, but I really liked it. Why? Well, because I didn't have a good functional resume on hand. So up top, take a look. We got Jane Doe. We've got addresses, phone number, information. We're going to talk about good email addresses in a little bit. Over here, this person does not have any experience, but they did put in here volunteer work. Also, I want you guys to take note of this as while you're thinking about filling out a resume and getting and applying for a job and whatnot. Think about, is there a volunteer opportunity coming up that would look fantastic on your resume? If so, you better jump at the opportunity to do that, because people love experiences, and volunteer work for some people is just as good as experiences. So if you work somewhere, volunteered for a summer, that's just as good as any other experience. You cannot replace experiences. Okay. Yes, you can sit in a classroom and learn about every tiny little thing of an aspect of a job, but until you've actually done it, you haven't put it all together. This person also puts in about their education, their personal accomplishments, the technology that they know, their education. One thing I want you guys to include also is, say you have not finished high school yet or community college, you can put in there expected graduation. So let's just say for this person, we can put, if they haven't graduated yet, expected graduation June 2014, or now June 2019. Why is that important? Well, they want to know when you're available to work. They want you to be done. They'd be like, hey, we want you as all ours. We want to make sure that you're not just in school. We want to employ you full time. So that's why it's important. You don't have to put the specific date, just the month and the year. That's good enough as is. In passing conversation, when you get interviewed, you can tell them a specific date. But hey, on your resume, just put the month and the year, you're good. Then once you have graduated from that place, then go ahead and erase expected graduation and just leave June 2019. Okay, I'm a little winded, but here we go. So let's click through functional. Yay, combination. All right, so fun fact, most resumes are actually a combination of chronological and functional resumes. So we find maybe you only have had one job before, so you're going to put experiences in there and volunteer work and all these other things. Also, like I said before, I want you to do some real soul searching, and also figure out what you've done in your past. And if you've done any volunteer work, write it down in a little notebook or on a piece of paper somewhere you're not going to lose it. Maybe the notes section of your phone, somewhere where you can just keep track of all of your volunteer work or any experiences that you've had. I want you to search online examples of different categories that you can put on there. So on mine, I've got job experiences. Maybe you don't have any job experiences. Maybe you have volunteer work. Maybe you put in there your skills and ability, and you can focus on things you're really good at. Here's your hint in life. Out of all the owners and business people I've talked to when hiring my students, a lot of them ask the same questions. They go, hey, does this student show up on time in class? Oh yeah, perfect. Okay. Do they work hard? Are they coachable? Are they teachable? So those are things that you're going to want to include. Also, it might not be a bad idea to say, hey, I've got reliable transportation. That's something surprisingly I found that a lot of employers are like, hey, we need to make sure that one, they're on time, two, they actually show up, three, they are a hard worker, and four, that they're coachable, they're teachable. It's really funny. These are what we call soft skills, meaning the things that don't go into the actual work, But if somebody's watching something and be like, man, that's a hard worker. Hey, they're really nice. They're really easy to get along to. They've got a really good bedside manner. Um, they get along with their coworkers really well. Those are soft skills. Hard skills are if you're an electrician or a welder, you can actually do that specific skill really well. If you're a teacher, actually teaching, those are what we call hard skills. So soft skills are the skills that don't apply to the job, but what everybody notices about the person and their personality. Hard skills are actually doing the job. And it's really funny because right now I hear so much bash. Oh, those young kids, they have no soft skills or anything. And I'm like, yeah, well, if you look up journal entries or articles when you were a teenager, they said the same thing about you. It's just the age. So what else? Okay, you can put in community involvement, civic engagement, honors, awards, professional affiliations, interests, hobbies, computer proficiency, etc. Like I said before, search online. What are some categories that fit to you? Okay, so like I said before, there is no such thing as a perfect resume, but your resume needs to be perfect. Um, and for this new bullet point, in other words, tailor, tailor, tailor. What job are you applying for? What can you highlight about yourself? Okay, references. Sometimes there's an option in different templates where it's like references available upon request. This is highly not recommended unless you actually have your references ready to go. I actually don't even recommend doing this. I've seen this in a few books, but in real life, real practice, just include your references. You're going to need about 3 to 5 of them, maybe 6 of them. And these people should be former employers, bosses, teachers, advisors, coaches, any leaders of yours in your personal life. Create a separate page. In addition to it, don't just put it on the backside. Don't try to put it at the bottom of your resume. This gets its own separate paper. Same letterhead, same font. Don't do anything weird or crazy. Okay. Yeah, 3 to 5 people that can speak about your professional skills, abilities. I normally get 1 or 2 phone calls a week or every other week for past students. And I will be honest. So if someday down the road you need me as a reference, I will be honest. So make sure that you're working hard for your teachers, your coaches, your bosses, your organizers, your leaders, whoever, because most of the time they will be honest. And absolutely no family members. I mean, if I put my mom on there, she would probably just tell you how I'm the most wonderful person in the world. And then you're thinking as a boss, oh, she probably just wants him to move out of the house. So absolutely no family members or anything. Okay, professionalism. Most of you will include an email address. Make sure that it is professional. Do not put hotmama21 at gmail.com. Do not put bigdaddy18 at hotmail.com. If you have one of those fun, interesting emails, yeah, keep that personal. That's totally fine. That's yours. Do you know how many emails you can create? As many as there are available. So create a professional website. Usually something that includes your first dot, your last name, maybe include the year you graduated from high school or college or trade school. So don't put anything embarrassing or anything. So yeah. I'm not going to tell you my first email that I ever made. It was when I was in the 4th grade, and still to this day, I kind of laugh about it. It does have reference to one of my favorite bands, Blink-182. So you can also include your Facebook if you have an Indeed account or LinkedIn or any sort of professional social networking. I'm making this in the year 2019, so I can only imagine in the next few years what new websites are in here. Actually, when I was updating this presentation, I had MySpace as the first one of these. So I kind of laughed at that. I go, MySpace is really no more. Well, actually, I think Justin Timberlake's trying to bring it back. All right, if you have, okay, this is called put on your grown-up pants. If you have any interesting ringtones or ringbacks, you might want to think about changing them. I don't know if ringbacks are a thing anymore. I don't hear them too often, but my brother-in-law still has one on his phone, and I think it's Mozart, and it's really annoying. So yeah, go ahead, clear that out. Edit. Make sure that everything is spelled correctly. How many times should you have this edited? Probably 10 to 20 times. It needs to be perfect. Nothing misspelled. The beginning of every sentence is capitalized. Make sure that you capitalize your lowercase i's. I'm sorry, we're not texting anymore. This has to be perfect. Also, I'm sure you guys all have one of those like really good editors, grammar people in your life. Go buy them a Snickers, go buy them a coffee, go buy them something and say, hey, can you edit my paper? Like, really make sure it looks good. And take their advice on it and make sure that it looks good. Shoot, you can even email me before you submit your assignment and say, hey, do you have any suggestions before I turn this in? You can always ask me or anything. Or even when you do turn it in as an assignment, you can even leave in the comments, be like, hey, I'm kind of 50-50 on this. What do you think? If it's bad, can you send it back to me? Absolutely. Okay. Oh yeah, and edit some more. It, like I said before, it needs to be perfect. So dial it in, make it perfect. If you need to, I've actually seen some people like this. I'm really impressed by them. Say you're interviewing for a job as a teacher, and say you're interviewing a job as a welder or as an electrician or as a doctor. I don't know. Those are very distant careers, but all good ones. Tailor. You might actually, for one job, submit one resume, and then to another job, you tweak, you edit it, and you fix it for the other job, and then you submit that resume. You are going above and beyond. You're tailoring. Remember, first and foremost, you are selling you. You are marketing yourself. If you are super humble, don't like to brag, time to put that off to the side, and for 10 minutes, sell yourself. For your job, and then the moment you get hired, you can go back to being humbled and not brag about yourself. Okay. It is now 26 minutes in. I wonder if anybody made it through all the way through. Hopefully some of you guys did. So if you ever have any questions, email me or whoever the teacher is of this class. Ask us questions. This is one of those assignments that goes beyond the classroom that you will be using in your personal life. Oh, and I did promise you I was going to show you some examples. If you have Microsoft Office or if you have Office Libre, if you open up a new document, you can actually look into a template and go resume. And look at all these beautiful templates that you can go through. Find one that really fits you, that stands out to you. Some people, some of these resumes I've noticed in the last almost just about year is now allowing you to include a picture. So if you think that's something that's going to play to your advantage, by all means do it. Especially if you are interviewing from one state or one city to another and you're doing a phone interview or something, hey, throw your picture on there. They want to see what you look like. So that might not be a bad idea. I do know a lot more jobs are going online. There are some companies across the United States where you can work from home. You can even work internationally. So, hey, a picture might not be a bad idea. If you don't have Microsoft Office for free, you can go on to Google Docs and you can search the templates for resumes. So if you go under General and we have resumes in here. Oh, look at them. Okay, so these are all free, provided to you by Google. The Spearmint one's usually a popular one I've seen people do. I've seen the Modern Writer. So find a resume that works for you. Just know, hey, this says skills. Maybe that doesn't fit you. Maybe you want something else. Search online other categories. And I do appreciate this from being a web design teacher also. This is Latin right here. A lot of web designers will use Latin as this cool little filler for space until you actually put something important. So that's why they do that. So find what works for you. Tailor. It has to be perfect grammar. Yes, I one time was hiring one position and had 17 applicants. And I had to figure out how to wean it down to 6 interviews and then one person to hire. I found on 2 out of 17 resumes there were grammatical mistakes. They went right into the round filing cabinet, aka the trash can. So make sure your resume is perfect, it is pretty, It is solid. It is good. I wish you guys the best of luck out there in the real world. Have a wonderful day.